I felt like one thing I did learn from BroSis that I don't think like in high school they taught me was more than anything, how to understand people.
In the 6 years we were in TMA, we went through our mission statement. We defined what was a man, what was a leader, and what was a brother. And during that time, we discovered who we were and what we wanted to be, how we acted as brothers and what we want to be as brothers in the future, how we acted as leaders and how we want to be leaders in the future.
High school and college, they're not gonna teach you about how to be a man, but here at BroSis, that was the initiative. Get to know the kids and then just all about their upbringing.
When I moved on to the Liberation Program with BroSis, it was like, oh my God, I've been living under a rock. They teach us what they don't teach us in school because they actually want us to learn that there's other things around the world that us as a youth can change.
Being a black man, our trajectory, you go to school, you might drop out of school, you might go to jail, changing the narrative, doing something out of the ordinary, speaking in front of, hundreds of people, telling my story about what BroSis is and how it affected me positively. It emulates that other people see that if you can do it, I can do it as well.
I realized how it could have been harder if I didn't have BroSis to show me how powerful it is to be a woman of color. There's so many ugly things that we had to go through, and there's so many beautiful things that come from so much struggle that we have to actually take into account. BroSis is a perfect representation of something that brings out beauty in something that was very much ugly. I feel like sometimes a lot of people are more gravitated towards when they see African Americans struggle. But it's like, it's so much more than a struggle. It's actually achievement, it's beauty.
So many of the programs that I love at BroSis that aren't offered to me in my school are photography, cooking, meditation, and the environmental program where I learned about composting, hydroponics, and how to grow fruits and vegetables. When I first got here, it was like I felt like it was family. I felt like everybody wanted me here.
You come in and everyone is happy to see you. Jason and Kari taking me under the wing. I spent a lot of time with Kari, figuring out where you want to go to college. You need that support. They made sure, I'm making the right choices for myself.
When I was in the Liberation Program at BroSis, I rushed in, I was a little late. It was Marsha that came up to me, she's like, oh, you're gonna have to do a speech. I said, what? What do you mean a speech? She's like, oh yeah, we're going to a meeting for Yuri Kochiyama and Malcolm X and we're gonna let you speak. Sometimes that's just enough to know that there's people who are more confident in you and you figure it out along the way.
BroSis really helped me a lot, the job process, especially Chris. He talked to me, he listed every website that could help me get my license, every school, where I could go, and he really mentored me.
My family and I were looking for a new apartment. BroSis helped us reach out to a government assistance program to help us pay for the apartment.
In my time with Sister Soul and with BroSis, it made me realize that I don't want anyone to think that they can figure out the summary to my book because of the cover.
If I look back at physical experiences, going on the retreats, college tours, international trips, there's a lesson in each of them.
When BroSis took me to Cuba, it was the first time being independent from your family. That really opened my eyes to being independent and what I had to do in the future when I move on and do bigger things.
Today we're here to talk about our training and our professional development work. This is one of the essential 3 pillars of the work that we do here at Brotherhood Sister Soul. And this work really goes back to the early days of our organization. We've been doing training and professional development work for about 25 years. We've been doing that work across the country, from San Francisco to Mississippi, Texas, to the work you and I have been doing in DC, to Boston. And we've done this work internationally. We've done trainings in Ghana, we've done trainings in Bermuda, and I lived and trained for a long time in Brazil. When Kari and I first started doing this work, way back in 1994, 1995. There was a lot of curiosity as to how you were working with this particular population. And so beginning to train other folks on our unique approach to community building and how it is you bring young people together and help them to create safe space, thinking about the unique components of our curriculum, you know, how it is you help them to develop critical thinking skills, really became part of the original template that then expanded to all of the different programs that, you know, we run. In those 25 years, you know, we've reached over 300 organizations, approximately 3,000 educators. And when you think about the number of young people that those educators have touched, we estimate it's over 25,000 youth.
The beauty of our training is that we're sharing and we're teaching, but we're also putting other folks in a position to learn and do this work on their own. We're here in New York, we're serving a very particular demographic of young folks, and I think what you and I know here may not necessarily translate to Philadelphia or Boston, but we really, really want to make sure that we're putting you all in a position where you can take this work, adapt it, and, you know, make it your own.
For the fact that we can build curriculum that is also very aware and very timely and very important makes it very special because it's also authentic and it's very real and it's really meeting our young people where they're at, but also not only what we think they need to be learning about, but also what they want to be talking about too.
When folks look at our statistics and the fact that 96% of our kids graduate from high school, 85% go on to higher education, you know, we have no young people who are currently incarcerated. You know, those are the kinds of statistics that I think really demonstrate in some folks' perspective the power, you know, of the work that we do. When you think about the kind of person they are, the way they walk this earth, the way they see themselves in their community, the way they treat other people, right? Those are the kinds of results that I think, to me personally, and I know to you all, kind of demonstrate the power of what it is we do, how you develop young people's social emotional strength, how you help them to define their beliefs, and then how you help them to live by those beliefs, I think is really what's at the core, you know, of the work that we do and the training that we're trying to pass on to others.
As an alumni of the organization, I joined when I was 11 years old. I have moments where I look back at that time and kind of just watching you move the space and facilitate the space. And now being able to do this with you and you've really allowed me to feel like a partner. You've really allowed me to feel like I have ownership of this training. So it's been an honor to you know, do this work with you and you know, just feel like it's like a full circle moment for me.
You know that we organize around criminal justice and specifically ending mass incarceration as it pertains particularly to young people in Harlem, but in New York overall and Black and Latinx youth. We work on environmental justice and we work also on education justice, which is where most of y'all had come through the Liberation Program.
In terms of criminal justice, organizing around criminal justice, a lot of young people do not know their rights. And as a member of the Brotherhood Sister Soul, it was important to teach us about the law.
A lot of the lessons I've learned, some of them hurt a lot. How systemic racism weaves into basically everything we do, you know, being an organizer. My facilitators take it to heart to teach us. We all need to become comfortable being uncomfortable because there's gonna be a lot of different spaces that we're gonna be forced into or just put into that has a lot of negative energy. After you learn, you really can't waver from that. Yeah, I love organizing.
Especially in Summer Liberation School, when we learned about the Young Lords and the Black Panther Party and how it all started from, you know, an idea and a group of young people. And, you know, it's learning about history, the history of organizing empowers young people to believe that they can do it themselves.
When you put terms to like what's going on, the things that surround you about police brutality, gentrification, redlining, and how our communities of color are affected, being able to speak about it and having that power in being able to speak about it, because some people can't. And I remember the feeling of the echoes down the street. Amazing.
I participated in a die-in when Trayvon Martin was murdered, and that experience was life-changing. We literally was in front of the state office building, and we laid down on the floor and spoke our truth.
I notice that you're crying. I want to hear.
I'm scared. Oh, because it's because we made it. Like, we're here for real. Like, we made it. Like, we wanted to make a change, and we're making the change. We didn't know what any of this, and we made it here. Like, that's crazy. Like, to say that, oh, I spoke at a protest, that's insane. You tell somebody that, and they say that, what?
One of the things I love about organizing here, one, is that it's predominantly youth-facing, and two, that in our organizing work, it's never like a facilitator, an adult, a staff person being like, this is what we're gonna do. Like, it's more like us creating the space, asking the questions. And the things that we do at BroSis is both like organizing and policy and legislation. The Save Our Schools campaign is about the increase of student support staff and ending policing culture in schools, right? Young people spend the most of their time in their schools. And that if you feel criminalized in your schools, in your streets, in your home, it's gonna have a mental health impact.
When you think about it, like, a lot of mental health stems from like that feeling of not being able to belong in a place that you should be. Some days, like, I just feel out of it, and like, knowing I have BroSis, I feel that support, but a lot of people don't have BroSis.
I really love our people, and I'm here for that. Like, I'm here for that in all the ways that that means. Knowing that we provide college support, knowing that we provide financial support, emergency support, wellness and therapy, like, you know, culturally responsive education, a safe space, like all the things, knowing all the things that we provide because it doesn't exist. I'm fighting for a world in which BroSis doesn't have to exist for young people to get what they need.